Hey, shalom, shalom, y'all. If I could get y'all to like and share the class, let everybody know we live. It ain't pop up for me on Facebook. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, the Israelite School of UPK has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is here on the earth. What we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible to obtain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has had placed therein for us to be able to receive in these days and times that we're living in so that we could come back to being the people that he called us to be. And why is it important to be the people that God called us to be? Because without the Most High's guidance, without his laws, without his instructions, we end up in the condition that we are in today on the earth. You look in the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian community, and you see disarray. You see poverty. You see, destitution. You see a people who are divided, people who are scattered, or people who are not um, aware of what it is that is keeping them from coming together. And everything that we are suffering in these days and times are a direct result of our disobedience or rebellion against God. Now, what's largely responsible for our rebellion is the lack of knowledge and the lack of information that we have concerning who we are and what we're supposed to do. And the responsibility of that lies largely with our oppressor. We didn't end up in this condition as a people by happenstance. We are not in the condition that we are in as a people by bad luck of the draw. We are in this condition because there has been a plan that was orchestrated and put forth and well executed by our oppressors and the other nations on this earth to keep us from knowing the truth of who we are. And by keeping us in the darkness about who we are, they are able to hide from us the solution to all of our problems. Well, thanks be to the Most High Commander General Yohana. Since 1969, ISUPK has been raising up men to be pillars in our community, to be the solution to all the problems that we're suffering. And the way that we do that is by raising brothers up to be the way that God called them to be, which is found here in the Bible. Tonight, Thursday, is scripture breakdown class, and tonight I wanted to go into a breakdown that's very prevalent to the times that we're living in today. Tonight, we're going to talk about trusting in the Most High, particularly trusting in Him when everything in your environment and everything in your surroundings is telling you that there's another way. We're living in very perilous times, very dark times, and really we've been in perilous times for quite some while. I remember, man, I want to say around the time of 9/11, 2001 is when, life there's a lot of unsurety of things. Prior to 9/11, I would say that growing up, black, you just knew certain things. You know, you knew what your dangers were. You knew what the things were that you had to watch out for and you had to steer clear of. And even though a lot of people still fell into those traps, it was kind of, you felt like, man, I could navigate my way through life and not get caught up in none of these traps. If I just stay off the block, if I just stay out the hood, if I just don't get down with no gang activity, if I just be a good, decent person, I could live a decent life. And that was pretty much what was pitched to us around that time in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. To me, we was coming out of I felt like we was coming out of the gangster era and coming into, a new time in Black America where you could kind of, there was some hope that maybe you could just live a decent life and didn't have to worry about certain kind of things. But then when 9/11 hit, it was almost as if there was like a reset button. And it was like, man, we living in a time of war, it's terrorism. You never know when there could be a bomb going off or somebody getting shot. Everybody went and bought all their guns. Black people and white people was pretending to be decent with each other because now we had an enemy in the Arabs. And I imagine that was what it felt like during the time of the Vietnam War, the time of the Korean War, or the time of World War II, which is all periods in Black history that I studied and was well versed in, throughout my years growing up. And I remember when 9/11 happened, it was like, man, we living in a new time. But that new time, it's crazy. That new time was a dangerous time, was a more perilous time. Now there was a lot more to have to worry about. And ever since 9/11, it just seems like every few years there's some looming threat and some looming danger, some horrible thing for everybody to be afraid of. I remember shortly after 9/11, again, everybody was afraid of the war. Everybody was afraid of getting drafted and having to go fight in Afghanistan and Iraq. People were scared of terrorist attacks. And during that whole period of war, there was all types of terrorist attacks going on. Bombs going on, trains getting blown up in Paris and cats getting found with bombs in their shoes. And it seemed like that was the threat. That was the thing to be worried about. Then shortly after 9/11, I remember George Bush's second presidency, the big thing was the economy. Oh, the economy was failing. The dollar was about to fail. The housing market boom happened with a market crashed, and all of the housing prices shot through the roof, and the value of the dollar dropped. And they found out all the fraud had been going on with the banks, and it was like, man, what's going to happen? And all the conspiracy theories was about the coming new world order and the new currency that was going to be worldwide, and this is how the banks are going to get everybody to be under a one world system. And then Barack Obama got elected. And it was like, oh man, it's a beautiful time to be black in America, man. We got us a black president. But then he still had the economy failing, but Barack Obama bailed out the banks. He bailed out the banks so that the America wouldn't fall and the economy wouldn't be an issue, and things seemingly picked back up. Everything, kind of just continued. Then during time of Barack Obama's presidency, everybody was getting deported. He's deporting people left and right. Wars in Afghanistan. Then the Arab Spring hit and wars broke out in Syria and war in Egypt and war in Jordan and war in all these Middle Eastern countries where these people revolting against their governments. And then that was the big thing, like, damn man, what's gonna happen? Then Libya, don't forget about Libya. Muammar Gaddafi, and then there was talk about how, man, they went and all this Arab Spring and everything happening in Africa and in them Arab countries was because the value of the dollar dropped, and the African Union was talking about establishing a new standard currency using gold, because all the gold in the earth is in Africa, and the governments of the Western European powers were scared of a united Africa, so they went in there and killed Muammar Gaddafi, and they got Mubarak out of power in Egypt. And everybody just knew that the World War III was right around the corner when Syria got involved, and then Russia came down and helped the Syrians. And man, it's just been one thing after another since 9/11. And after Barack Obama, then you got Donald Trump is made president. Donald Trump is president. Oh man, it's crazy. It's going down, it's going off. Then the whole earth is intense because Donald Trump is the president. He's going to different diplomatic functions and bullying people and talking mess and saying anything you want to say out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Then the coronavirus come. But I remember before the coronavirus came, we was right back where we were before 2008 when the housing market crashed. I remember the whispers about the economy failing and about, the Federal Reserve Bank lending more money and inflation and the value of the dollar dropping. That's when all of that Bitcoin stuff started popping up, when around the time Donald Trump became president, because they were saying we're going to have a new kind of currency because the U.S. dollar is about to fall. The U.S. dollar is failing, man. Ain't going to be no more investments, no more retirement, no more Social Security. Said all that to say that life outside of the truth or outside of the protection of the Most High is very, very scary. And there's constant stress and constant pressure and constant fear that life as we know it today is not going to be the same tomorrow. And if you indulge in all of the fear mongering that goes on in this place and all of the propaganda and all of the things that come out of the TV and the radio pertaining to your status and the way that we live life in this earth, you would be deathly afraid, man. And you would take heed to the warnings and find out what solutions you could craft for yourself to be able to be protected and defended in the day when all of this conspiracy theory or all of this fear mongering or doomsday talk comes to pass. I wanted to come and teach this class tonight to let you know that there is nothing that you can do to protect yourself or to safeguard yourself against that day except for serving the Most High and trusting in Him. And we're going to read some scriptures tonight about people who trusted in the Most High and what was required of them to trust in the Most High and what it is that they needed and what it is that they did not need in order for them to be covered by the Most High. All right. So as we go ahead and get to this topic, if anybody got any questions, y'all go ahead and break them down. If you don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. If you got any questions online, type them in. Any questions in the room, raise your hand. All right. Go ahead. Let's get Psalms chapter 57, verse 1. All right. So Psalm chapter 57, verse 1, it says, "Be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me, for my soul trusts in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpassed." This was King David praying to the Lord, asking the Most High to be merciful unto him, asking the Most High to spare him from the trouble, from the wrath, from the destruction. You understand? And when you trust in the Most High, that is what you trust in Him for. You trust in Him that He will be a God of His word. You trust that all the things that He promised us that He would do, He would do. And what are the things that He promised us? He promised us that He would never leave us or forsake us. He promised us that if we obeyed Him and became His people, that He would be our God. He promised us that our enemies, that He would be an enemy to our enemies if we obeyed and if we trusted in Him. And so when I talk about trusting in the Most High, I'm speaking directly of depending on Him to be your source for all of your substance and all of your substance and all the things that you receive. You understand? Because we are living in a time where there's unsurety about everything. Just did some grocery shopping this week. $130 worth of groceries maybe last you about a week. 2 weeks if you're liberal and you're eating. But that 130 is not the same as what it was 6 months ago. And what I got today for 130 won't be the same as what I'll be able to get in 6 months. And so what is a person to do when they see that they're making the same amount of dollars, but those dollars aren't able to afford them the same amount of what they were buying before? Now, I'm just one man. I thank the Lord. I always pray for children. I still pray for children. But man, we living in a time where it's rough if you got kids. You got a lot of mouths that you have to feed, a lot of people that you have to care for. And I can only imagine what the stress and the pressure and the frustration is for someone who sees what is happening to the purchasing power of their dollar, but are powerless to be able to do anything to stop it. It is these times when you're going to have to be able to trust and depend on the Most High. Let me give you an example. Let's go ahead and go. Give me give 1 Kings chapter 17. All right, let's get 1 Kings chapter 17. We're gonna go straight to verse 10. All right. 1 Kings 17 and 8. All right. We're gonna read about the prophet Elijah and what it is that the Most High did for him and a sister who had faith in their time of trouble. 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 9 says, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. Verse 10, so he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Lord thy God lives, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. Verse 14, for thus saith the most high power of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail until the day that the Most High sends rain upon the earth. So Elijah just told this woman, go give me something to drink. While you at it, sis, please bring me a little bit of cake. The sister said, brother, I don't have enough for no cake for you. I just got a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour, and I was going to go make me and my son something to eat, and that's going to be the last thing we eat because we about to starve to death. And these people are living during a time of famine. There's a lot of people who are faced with that situation. A lot of people who are under those conditions, knowing that this food that they about to eat could be their last meal. And Elijah says, sis, I understand. I know it's bad, but the Lord sent me here. And the Lord told me that if you fed me, if you did what I told you to do, that your oil and your flour would never fail until the day that rain comes. You ain't got to worry about starving to death. It's going to be all right. The Lord said he's going to take care of us. Keep reading. Verse 15. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she and he and her house did eat many days. And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Most High, what she spake by Elijah. You understand? So this woman did what she was told to do. She had faith. She trusted this man of God. And because of her having faith and trusting in this man of God, that little bit of oil and that little bit of flour, that little bit of meal she had, it was enough for them to eat off until the famine ended. But how? How is it that she was able to continue feeding all of them, even though she only had a little bit of flour, a little bit of meal, and a little bit of oil? Because the Most High made sure that oil and that meal never was, what's the word I'm looking for? Never dwindled down. You understand? It was a miracle that this woman and this brother was able to eat off of the little bit that she knew was going to be enough for them to eat before they starved to death until the rain came. But you have to be faced with the situation of not being able to get no food. Not of knowing that this is all that I got, and to be tested with that for the Most High to know that you deserve to be blessed, that you deserve to be fed, that you deserve to be sustained through this time of trouble. And this woman deserved the blessing that she received from the Lord. She deserved to be sustained through that famine because she had faith. Elijah as well. Elijah, being a man of God, he could have been afraid. He could have allowed the drought and knowing what was going on with the famine to affect him, to cause him not to want to bother this woman and her son. Why would I have this sister? She said, I only got enough for them to eat and die, man. I don't want to trouble the sister. Nah. Elijah trusted that the Lord would not let him starve to death. He told that woman, go get that food, and she did it. And guess what? We read about Elijah today. Why? Because the Lord was with him. You understand? Your tests in life all come down to whether or not you are going to trust the Most High. And trusting the Most High is you not trying to figure it out. Meaning this. There's times when you're trusting the Most High to do something that you want him to do. You're going to get this new slavery, or you tired of being in this slavery, tired of being in this job, and you pray, man, Lord, let me get a better job, man. I want to be doing something else, man. I want to get more money, man. I know this ain't what you meant for me. And then as you going and putting in applications and you putting in for different jobs, and you know that the Lord with you, he gonna bless you, man. The right job gonna come along. That's one way of trusting in the Most High. There's another way of trusting in the Most High where there's a situation or a circumstance you're facing and you just don't know, man, I don't know how the hell I'm going to deal with this. I don't know how I'm going to get myself out of this situation. It's an impossible jam up, man. Ain't nothing I can do. Then you call and you get counsel. You seek the men of the Lord. And you wait to hear what their response is. Wait to hear the answer that they give you. And then they give you an answer. It might not be the one you was looking for, but then what? You obey those men of God. You do what they tell you to do. And the Lord will be with you. But then there's another situation where this isn't one that anybody can fix. It's one that you don't. It's just, man, I don't know what to do. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing. Counsel can't help this situation because it's one that it's going to play itself out anyway. There's certain things that we all face in life that are completely out of our control, and we have to be able to say it's in the Lord's hands, man. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Ain't nothing I can do to change the situation or make it go away. I'm in it now, so I got to just trust in the Lord. And then what do you do when you begin to just trust in the Lord? Then it becomes this. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 19. Luke chapter 21, verse 19 says, in your patience possess ye your souls. You understand? When you begin to trust in the Most High, then what begins to happen in your life is you have to be patient. You have to wait for the Most High to show you that he's with you. And that's the thing about trusting in the Most High, is when you are trusting in the Most High, you know that you have to wait on him. You have to be patient. But when you're not trusting in the Most High, you know that you have to figure this out for yourself. Like people who don't wait on the Most High, they go to figure it out for themselves. They go to try and find a way to hustle, find a way to scheme, find a way to plan, plot, and strategize to avoid some horrible thing. But when you have faith in the Most High, you know the horrible thing is coming. You prepare yourself. You're ready to defend yourself. You're ready to, be righteous in any situation. But there's some situations that this is in God's hands. I'll give you one in particular. One that may be common to all of us. Trying to love someone or deliver someone into the truth who doesn't want to obey God. Like, there's no amount of counsel that you can get to help you try to get someone in the truth if they don't want to be in the truth. There's no amount of you can pray, but then after you pray for that person who you desire to come into the truth, there's nothing more you can do to make them come. You got to be patient. You got to hope the Lord will change their heart. Hope the Most High open their eyes. But how many of us have experienced loving someone and caring for someone and hoping and praying they'll come into the truth and change their life, and they just never do it? And then every time you watch them struggle and suffer setbacks and have horrible things befall them, all you can do is look at them and say, "That's the Lord." How many of you have experienced life and gone through difficult times, and in the midst of it, it just seems like, man, it's the darkest place I've ever been in. Why me? Why have to endure such horror, such terror? What did I do to God? What did I do to deserve this? The demon be on your back in your mind telling you, yeah, you ain't shit. That's why you deserve this. That's why it's happening to you, because you ain't nothing. You ain't never gonna be nothing. You never was nothing. You thought you was gonna come in here and serve God, and their life was gonna be beautiful. Nigga, God don't even love you. Look at what God doing to you. If God loved you, why would he do this to you? All those thoughts go through your mind when you're in the darkest places, when you're going through your tough times. And then when you endure and you get through it like that, it be over. The time that the darkness is just gone. And now you breathing and you looking around and you're like, man, what the hell was that I was just going through? The hell was I dealing with? That was the Lord that you was dealing with. That was you being in the midst of a test, and then you persevered, and the Lord said, all right, that's enough. Cut him some slack. Let him breathe again. Let him get his bearings straight. Let her, appreciate the sunshine today. That's life, man. When you trust in the Most High, you got to be patient. Again, let me read the scripture. Luke chapter 21, verse 19 says, in your patience possess ye your souls. Everybody understands? In your patience possess ye your souls. You'll keep your soul if you learn to be patient. You'll keep your soul if you learn to wait on the Most High. I'll give you another example of a brother who waited on the Most High, who knew that the Most High was with him. But the Lord being with him didn't mean that he didn't have to go through the horror, didn't mean he didn't have to face the hell and the evil. But trusting in the Most High meant that he had to go through whatever he had to go through, knowing that the Most High would be with him to deliver him. Let's get Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. Let's go to verse 12. So, let's get Daniel 6 and 13. All right. So Daniel chapter 6, Daniel 6 and 13. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. Hold on, don't do that. Hold on. All right. All right, this is Daniel chapter 6, verse 13. It says, then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regards not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So the king heard that Daniel disobeyed his order, continued to worship the Most High, when there was a law passed that for 30 days you could not worship or pray to any god. The king said, I got something for Daniel, this disrespectful ass nigga. I got something for him. He don't want to do what I told him to do. He don't want to bow down. He don't want to start. He want to act like there's a real God. No sweat. I'm going to deal with him. Daniel 6:15. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree, no statute which the king establishes may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the lion's den. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, that God whom thou deliverest continually will deliver thee. You understand? So the king is having Daniel face this punishment. The king is having Daniel be thrown into the den of lions. But the king is speaking to Daniel and saying, your God, you serve your God continually. You serve your God every day. He going to deliver you. Don't sweat it. You're going to be all right. Right? Verse 17. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed according to concerning Daniel. Then the king went to the palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went to haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Everybody understand? Daniel was thrown into the lion's den to face his death by being eaten by lions. The king came back the next day. They rolled their stone back. Daniel was still in there with them lions. And Daniel said, the Most High closed the mouth of these lions so that I wouldn't get eaten, man. That's the power of my God that's real, that actually lives. But how was Daniel able to prove that power? How was Daniel able to lean on that power? Daniel went into the pit. Daniel could have fought and protested and argued and tried to fight and get away from it. Daniel took the punishment. You understand? Daniel had to wait on the Most High in that lion's den. And if it wasn't for going in that lion's den, Daniel would not have been able to prove his faith and trust in the Most High. Daniel trusted in the Most High that even when they told them it was a law that you would die for praying to God, Daniel still prayed. Daniel was stone cold, man. Daniel said, y'all gonna do what? What? Okay, no problem. Hey, man, we gonna pray 3 times a day in front of everybody so everybody can see it. Ain't nobody stopping me from serving my God. And that was the culture that existed in Israel. Why did that culture exist? Because we had an understanding that there's a power that's higher than man. There's a power that's higher than those who think that they have power. And that power is the Most High. Let me get that. Let's drop from Daniel. We read about Daniel, how the Lord preserved Daniel in that lion's den. Made sure them lions did not bite him, eat him, lick him, taste him, nothing. They thought that getting thrown in that lion's den meant that he was surely going to die. Let me get Matthew 10 and 28. All right, this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. It says, and fear them not which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Don't be afraid of those who can destroy the body. Right now, we're living in a time, man, where everybody's so afraid of every goddamn thing. Afraid of the coronavirus, you're afraid of the economy crashing, you're afraid of war with Russia, afraid of war with China, afraid of, all, the everything. Yeah, you're afraid of concussions on the football field. You understand? You're afraid of everything, whatever you're afraid of, you're afraid. We live in a time of fear. And the message in the Bible is very clear. Don't be afraid of them that can kill the body, man. Don't be afraid of these men out here. That's all that's out here in the earth is men. Some of them they're men endowed with spirits. Some are endowed with righteous spirits to teach you the truth and to break down these scriptures. And there's some endowed with evil spirits that want to kill and rob and murder. You shouldn't be afraid of none of that if you serve the Most High. Because while they may think they have the power over the body, Most High has power over the body and the soul. And understanding that kind of power, respecting that kind of power, is what will have you to fear him and obey him and to do what he said to do. And in fearing him and obeying him and doing what he said to do, you'll know that in the day of calamity, in the day of trouble, in the day of darkness, that the Lord going to be with me. Because he's with me now. You understand? Matthew 10 and 29. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father? But the very hairs of your head are numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, as ye are of more value than the sparrows. Everybody understand? Why would you be afraid of God letting something happen to you if you obey him? He don't let nothing happen to the birds. He don't let nothing happen to the sparrows. All life and death is in the power of the Most High's hands. So if he could protect all of these things, what would make you think he wouldn't protect you? Or if he could make all things susceptible to being destroyed and to being captured and to being conquered, why would he make you any different? So if you know that the Lord is capable of allowing death and destruction and famine, then what is it to stop him from allowing it to happen to you? You got to obey him. You got to love him. You got to serve him. How do you prepare yourself, man, in these times that we're living in? How do you prepare against the day of darkness? How do you prepare against the evil and the wickedness that exists in this earth that's trying to overtake the spirit of our King? All right. Bear with me, trying to get this thing right. Hold on. 28. All right. So, like, how do you make sure that the Most High? So, a lot of people that don't know what it means to trust in the Most High, who aren't acknowledging Him in the day of their trouble, what are they running to? What do they think is going to be their defense? What do they think is the solution to all of the problems that are existing in the earth right now, and all the writing on the wall being that this place is over and destroyed, and there's another kingdom that is going to arise soon? For the people who believe that, and all the conspiracy theories, you believe in the vaccine going to murder you. You believe that, goddamn, the economy going to fall and the dollar going to be worthless. You believe that Bitcoin is the next big thing. You believe that, I got to get stocks and bonds and put it in the gold. You have all these ideas about what's going to stop you from suffering the hell that is coming to this place. What is it? What is required in order for you to be able to secure yourself in this empire, in this kingdom? What do people turn to say, I'm all right, man, I got it. I'm good. I'm gonna be good. All else could be going to hell around them. Everything else could be destroyed. Family miserable, wife is a hoe, daughter is depressed and sad, son smoking drugs and hanging around gangs. But this person ain't even worried about it because they know they're gonna be good. Their family gonna be all right. They a success. What makes somebody feel that way in the midst of this hell that we living in? What makes our people feel like they can ignore the Most High and don't need to turn to Him, even though we're living and struggling in hell as second-class citizens in this country? Somebody answer the question for me. What is everybody's safety net in America today? What is everybody scrounging to get to protect themselves against the bad times and the tough times? Nobody answers. Okay, we're gonna get 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10. All right. Mariam has it. Mariam, so like Mariam, you got it. Sister Mariam got it. She said money. Money is everybody's safety net. Money is everybody's safety blanket. Money is the quarterback is third and long, and the quarterback got to make a play. He gonna throw it to his go-to receiver. Money is everybody's support system. It's their safety net. It's what they trust in. It's their God. For those of us who know the truth about the Most High, your money can't save you. Your money can't help you. Your money cannot protect you because it's just money. And we're living in a time where money is about to be obsolete. It's getting there now. $130 buys you about a week and a half worth of groceries. And that's just for one fat man. That's me. One fat man, $130 give me about a week and a half of groceries. You understand? That's just the groceries. That's not eating out. It's cutting out fast food and all the fun, stuff you like to do. That's just for food. And people believe that if you got money, you'll be all right. You need some more money. But what happens when you have money, but the cost of everything is so expensive that you can't even afford to even live or buy it? I remember when I first moved to Memphis. I moved to Memphis in 2019, the end of 2019. And I said to myself, this is an amazing place, man. Apartment, you get a 2-bedroom apartment for $650. Oh, you can get you know what I'm saying? You get your little 1-bedroom apartment for $585 a month. It wasn't even a horrible neighborhood either. It wasn't roaches or nothing. It was a decent little apartment. I said, man, I got to live down here. I got to move down there. I move to Memphis and be balling, man. I'm gonna be stunned with the money I'm making. 3 years later, them same 2-bedroom apartments that was $650 when I moved down here, they are now $1,200. The same ones that were $650 in 2019 are $1,200 today. 4 years. When I first moved to Memphis, the cost of the wage of jobs, average little job you would go work was paying like $11, $12 an hour. After I came down to Memphis and I crashed my vehicle, and I had to get slavery. I took a slavery at the University of Memphis. And I took that job and was making about $12.30 an hour. When I tell y'all I'm a grown ass man making $12.30 an hour to do a parking attendant job at the University of Memphis, you could not tell me that I had not gotten to a low place in my life. But at the time, $12.50, I could live off of that. I was not ashamed of my $12.30 an hour because I could pay my rent off $12.30 an hour, 40 hours a week. I was enough for me to pay my rent and try to save me a little bit of money to get a car in Memphis, Tennessee in 2019. And here we are. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, people stopped working because all of the goddamn stimulus checks and shit was coming out. Excuse my language, y'all. I remember when the stimulus checks was hitting in 2020. My black ass, I got laid off from the university because the university shut down. halfway through 2020. And I went and I tried to file my unemployment. And I'm hearing about everybody getting all this good money and the money coming through, the money hitting their accounts. And I'm going online checking like, man, when my money going to hit? I ain't get no card in the mail, nothing. I messed around and did not follow through with my filing online. By the time I went to go check to see what happened with my unemployment, they had denied my claim because I forgot to include a copy of my Social Security card in my claim. And they sent the email to an email that I don't use because it was an email for in the world, and I never checked it. By the time I checked it, it was too late. Them folks owed me about $4,200. If I had just checked and been concerned about the money I was missing, I would have had about $4,200 and could have just sat on my behind for the whole. Well, I did whole 2020. The Lord blessed me because I went and got that job at the university making $1,230, and was stressed out about having this job and making so little. But then the coronavirus hit, and then the job didn't have us coming to work because there wasn't no work to do because the university was shut down, but was still paying us like we were coming in. So the whole beginning of 2020, from like April, really when did the corona hit? From February until August, I didn't even go to work, but was getting checks the whole time. Then when they called us to come back to the school, we went back up there, worked for about a week, and at the beginning of September, they told us we're gonna have to lay some of y'all off in December. School ain't really come back yet. We missing money, but we're gonna have you work for 2 more weeks until middle of September, and then you can just go home and chill until December. We'll lay you off December, and then you can go file for your unemployment. And I remember I got laid off during the pandemic, and because I had sat at home and was getting all those checks like I was working, I had money. So I was able to save money because there wasn't nowhere to go. Wasn't no clubs, wasn't no bars, wasn't no liquor stores. I didn't have a vehicle. So I really was just in the house getting paid. If y'all was paying attention to the classes back then, y'all remember my little living room set up. I'm in the living room teaching class. During the pandemic, brothers and sisters coming over. You know what I'm saying? I was living in the hood then. I hadn't even opened up. I wouldn't open my apartment up for classes because it was shootings in my neighborhood every other night. But I sat home, man, for 6 months before when the pandemic started and was just collecting checks. But I'm reading online and talking to brothers and seeing how everybody talking about they getting this stimulus money. I got laid off in December, but I had money stashed up, so I didn't really worry about it. I didn't worry about going to check on my money from unemployment until after the Passover 2021. Right? I think it was the one we had in Florida. No, the one we had in Houston. It wasn't until after the Houston Passover that I went to go check, man, where the hell is this damn unemployment money at? And that's when I found out they denied me and I missed it, right? So I went to go get a job. This is after the pandemic. This is 2021. They're trying to loosening up on the COVID restrictions, and they're trying to get people to go back to work to stop collecting the unemployment. And down here in Memphis, a lot of the jobs, they are major distribution hubs down here. Nike, Amazon, DHL, FedEx. There's a lot of different places that deals with a lot of shipping down here. So there's a lot of warehouse jobs. And I remember because they were trying to get people to come back to work, FedEx had raised their hiring amount to $21 an hour. 21. Remember when I first moved to Memphis a year and a half earlier, I was making $12.30 an hour. Then I seen FedEx hiring for $21 an hour. I went and grabbed me a FedEx job. Give me one of them jobs, FedEx. But I knew $21 an hour probably gonna break your back. I just give me $18 an hour. I'll be cool with 18. Down here, 18 at a time, like a year ago, 2021, April or May, $21 an hour was like, you balling down here in Memphis, man. You what? Apartment 650, nigga, that's paid in a check and a half. MLGW, they raping. It's probably about 200, another 200. Nigga, I pay all my bills and FedEx pay every week. I'm paying all my bills in 2 weeks, which means the next 2 weeks I just got money to play with, money to help try to find a school, and money to save and stash away, money to try to get me a vehicle. I took that job. They was paying us $21 an hour. Then after the pandemic was over, and after the taxes got filed in 2022 last year, Soon as tax time came last year, prices of everything started going up. Them jobs up their money because FedEx and Amazon was competing. Amazon first had went up to like $19 an hour. FedEx was like, shit, we'll go to 20. Then Amazon went out and said, we're going to go to 20 and we're going to give you a $3,000 signing bonus. FedEx said, God damn, okay, we'll give y'all 21. Then Amazon came back with something. I jumped in at FedEx at 21. Then they came back and said, hey, we're going to take it to 23. Amazon was like, nah, we ain't going to do that much. But they was, because they trying to get people to come back to work and get off of that damn pandemic, they raised the prices. They raised the money they was paying everybody. But soon as the first tax cycle came after the stimulus money, what people don't realize is them giving all that stimulus money, that's just money they made up out of nowhere. And anytime they force more money into the economy, they got to drive the rate of inflation up, which means the dollars you have are worth less. You understand? So once they raised the dollar amount of what everybody was getting paid, then here came all the rental companies and said, "Oh, y'all niggas getting 21 in FedEx, huh? Okay, all right. Now that $650 you was paying a year and a half ago, $1,200, nigga." And that's where the rent is at right now. You still might find some places. You might get you $750. You might still find $750, $725. But that $550 and $600, unless you live in the projects, that's dead for Memphis, Tennessee. And I can imagine what it's like all around the country and all these other different places. I said all that to say, money is not going to deliver you. Money cannot be what you depend on to say, oh, I'm safe, man. We good to go. Because when I came to Memphis, oh, man, I'm safe. I'm good to go. I just knew I was straight. The rent I'm paying now is just like what it was if I would have stayed in Philadelphia. That's what the prices in Memphis are now. You live somewhere decent and nice, you're going to be paying. And that's because the condition of the times that we are in, you cannot be safe with money. You cannot look at how much money you're making out of slavery and say, I'm going to be all right, we're going to be straight. You got to have to trust in the Lord, man. You got to depend on him. You understand? Again, 1 Timothy chapter 6. Let's go to verse 7. All right. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Everybody understands? Verse 10, for the love of money is not the root of all evil. Watch, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many arrows. Everybody understands? This is saying you should be content with what it is you... Okay, this is not what this is saying. It's not saying just be content with what you have. This is saying do not get lost in materialistic things. Do not get caught up in how much of this you have or how much of that you have, or I was able to afford this or I was able to afford that. That is not in the spirit of the time we're living in. We're not living in the time of stunting and balling and doing it big. We're not living in the time of look at how much I have. We're not living in a time of, yeah, man, you know, my shoes cost more than your outfit. That time is dead and gone for our people, man. And the Most High is trying to get us to see how foolish that train of thought is, how foolish it is to live beyond your means just, I don't know, because you can't be content with what you have, because you're jealous of what someone else has, because you want to live on a level that somebody else is living on. You want to stunt and ball like someone else. It's disgusting and it's shameful, and it's going to be your destruction, man. We live in a time where the money that we have, well, I'm not going to say the money we have, but we live in a time where lusting after material possessions is only going to lead to us being destroyed. Keep reading in 1 Timothy chapter 6. 1 Timothy, I read it. 1 Timothy 6 and 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many arrows. Everybody understands? The love of money is the root of all evil. Didn't say money was the root of all evil. Money on its own is just money. It's just what you need to survive and what you need to get by. But the love of money, the need of money, the want of all the things that you see on the TV and you hear on the radio and you see with somebody walking down the street who you look to as being better than you. The root of that thing you feel about that money is what is at the core of all the evil that is done in the world. And there's nothing but death and destruction that follows a life that is chasing after riches. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have money. Doesn't mean that you can't be wealthy. But having the cushion in your mind that everything is going to be all right because I got this money does corrupt you. It's a corrupting thought. Thought that I ain't got to worry about nothing, man. We got money. Look how many O's in my bank account. That is destructive because it takes your attention off of what the Most High is doing. There's so many people in this earth who cannot see what God is doing on this earth because they got the money. Think of somebody who can afford to leave the cold, leave when it's cold to go somewhere warm. Think about somebody who wintertime come, they living in Memphis. They live in Memphis. They say, man, I don't want to deal with no cold. Man, I'm about to go fly to Cabo for a few weeks. I'm going to Mexico. I'm going to some island over in Europe. I'm going to some fancy schmancy place where there's butlers and servants. I just watched a movie. Not a movie. I watched a show about Hawaii. And the white man is such the devil. It's such a devil. It was. I just want to say the sidebar. It was sad to see that white man came in into them islands in the middle of the ocean, conquered them people, took their land, took their beaches, built resorts, and then for entertainment, have the locals who they done murdered, raped, and conquered come and dance and put on a fire show and a hula dance show for all the rich white people to get to come there on vacation. It's disgusting, man. It's sickening as hell. This world we living in. You understand? And those people. Anyway, Salaki. The idea that money can preserve you or save you goes completely against the spirit of you trusting in the Most High. And when I say trusting in the Most High, I mean trusting in the Most High. We're going to come to a time where you cannot have a job if you obey a different God. You not good. Salakia, your wages are not going to be able to be enough for you if you won't denounce the Most High, if you won't stand with, America. And in that time, what are you going to do? How will you be able to defend yourself if your ability to make money is taken away? Let me show you what our king did. Let me see this. Let me see. Hold on. Get Mark chapter 10. Hold up. We're going to start at Mark 10 and 13. Hold up. Nope. Hold up. I just had it. Hold on. So lucky, y'all. All right, this is Mark 10 and 18. This is Christ speaking. And we're gonna read these words from Christ. I need y'all to understand that he meant what he said. He didn't misspeak. It wasn't no hyperbole or metaphor. This was literal. Everybody understands. Mark chapter 10, verse 18. And Yahweh said unto him, so like it start at verse 17. Mark chapter 10, verse 17. And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life? And Yahweh said unto him, Why call thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. This is the evidence you need to see that our King Yahweh did not try to take any credit for anything that the Lord did. He said, man, why? And he made the distinction between himself and the Lord. Why you call me good, man? There's only one that's good, and that's the Most High. Verse 19, thou knowest the commandments. Do not eat adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, defraud not, honor thy mother and father. Verse 20, and he answered and said unto him, Master, I pray, yeah. Mark 10 and 20. He answered and said unto him, Master, all these have I observed from my youth. So he asked Christ, what I got to do to inherit eternal life? Christ said, listen, man, you know what you got to do. Follow the laws. He ran down the laws for him. Verse 20, and he answered and said, said unto him, Master, I have observed it from my youth. Verse 21, then Yahweh beholding him, loved him, said unto family, verse 21, then Yahweh beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, one thing thou lackest, go thy way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come, take up the cross, and follow me. Verse 22. And he was sad at that saying and went away grieved, for he had great possessions. When this man asked Christ, what I got to do to enter eternal life, and Christ told him to obey the Most High, he said, well, I'm obeying the Most High. Christ said, the next thing, if you really want to take it up a level, sell everything you got and follow me. Give it all away. All your riches, all your wealth, everything. If you're really, really about being selfless, if you're really about caring about everybody else but you, give up all your material possessions and come and serve me. Come follow me. When that man got sad and couldn't do it, Christ understood. This nigga tripping, man. I mean, this nigga lying. He just saying he down with something, but he ain't really down. He doesn't know how to trust the Most High. He doesn't know what it means to, leave it in his hands. Everybody understands. This is now. When Christ told him to sell everything that he has and come follow me, that was a test. That was Christ saying, if you really trust in the Most High, if you really follow the Most High, if he's really the one you depend on for all of your substance, then give it all away. Come follow me. What did that mean for Christ? That meant that Christ, in trusting in the Most High, he wasn't chasing after no money. He wasn't working no 9-to-5 job. What does it take to be a man who does not depend on money to know that he's taken care of and has all his needs being met every day? What kind of ridicule would you have to endure? What type of conversation of other people would you have to suffer, them looking at you and saying, you ain't got no job, you ain't doing nothing to get no money coming in, you just living off of the people? You got to be a man that knows that if I am working, my life is dedicated to serving the Most High, then I'll never want for nothing. And that's all I really need in life, is that I don't want for nothing. When we say the Lord's Prayer, we aren't praying for riches. We aren't praying for wealth. We're praying for our daily bread. Why? Because our daily bread is all that we need. Everything else is extra. And if you became the type of man and the type of woman that lived in understanding and knowing that the Most High gives you just enough of everything that you need, then maybe we wouldn't have so many people who didn't have anything. Maybe if we became a people that really accepted that in life, you can't really own anything because everything on the earth comes from the Most High. If we understood that you can't, you don't have a title or a claim to anything except for what the Most High gives you, maybe there wouldn't be so many suffering people. Maybe there wouldn't be so many starving people. Maybe there wouldn't be people wouldn't have to die with diseases and that can't be cured because they don't have enough money to pay for the doctor's visit. Like all these issues and these problems that, man, chair keep falling. Salaki, y'all, excuse me. Salaki. Oh, Salaki, I need to get some water, y'all. Bear with me 1 second. Chair keeps slipping. Taking his medicine. Medicine got my head cloudy, y'all. Excuse me. Salaki, y'all, for them pauses. Taking this damn medication. I apologize for that. Y'all bear with me. Get some fluids in my system. Salaki. When Yahushua told this rich man in Mark the 10th chapter about selling everything he had and following him, Christ was trying to teach him that if you serve the Most High and if you trust in him, then you don't have any need for your riches or your wealth. When you trust in the Most High, all that matters is that your daily needs are met. And we are living in just like that woman who was back in the famine with Elijah. You understand? Just like the sister back in the famine with Elijah, all she needed, her and her son, was enough food for them to eat every day. Elijah didn't promise her that she was going to be rich. Elijah didn't promise her that she was going to be wealthy. Elijah promised her, you feed me, you're not going to die. If you feed me, you're going to be able to eat. You're going to have enough to eat until the famine is over, till the rain comes. And in times of trouble, that's all the Most High has promised us. Excuse my language. Excuse me. Why is that important to know? It's important to know because we are living in a time where that is going to be what gets you by, is your daily bread. We've lived a very delicious lifestyle for these past 40 years on the earth. When you sit back and you really analyze life and you look at this generation that we're living in, we are living in a generation that has had none of the worries that the previous million generations on the earth have had since the history of earth began. You are living in a time where there's electricity, there's vehicles, there's buses and trains and airplanes. You live in a time where you have cellular phone technology, where if you want to talk to a loved one, all you got to do is press a button and then their voice is right there in your hand. Like, we have so many luxuries and amenities in this time that we're living in that for a lot of us, we've missed the point of life. We've missed the key to life. The key to life is not having all of these materialistic things and being able to show off on your friends and being able to post vacation pictures on the goddamn internet. The point of life was appreciating what God has given you and serving him, knowing that the only way you get more is if he blesses you. Like, I think about 60 years ago. Come on, man. 60 years ago when my mother and her siblings were children. Maybe one black and white TV for the whole house. I remember my grandmother, this was 2 generations ago. My grandmother used to tell stories about walking 10 miles to school. Some country town called Danville, Virginia. She used to walk 10 miles to school because that's how bad her parents wanted her to learn how to read. I think about the stories my grandfather told them growing up, and white boys used to try to chase them home from school because the white boys was the tough and rough ones in the neighborhood, and the black kids was getting bullied for being black and trying to go to school. And they white boys used to chase them home from school. And you just think of how much the earth has changed in. I've been alive for 36 years. Well, if we look at where we are now, where are we going to be in another 36 years? Where's this? Where's life? Where's the society trending? If you read the signs, if you understand the prophecies in the Bible, this place is going to reset. It's going to go backwards. It's not going to go forward. It can't go forward. There's no way it can continue because it's already falling apart. They're just keeping it afloat with magic strings and wizardry, witchcraft. But if you know the truth and you know the Most High and you know these prophecies, you know that it's already written what's about to happen. Famines and pestilences and wars and rumors of wars. Every man returning to their own country. The violence being at such a fever pitch that you ain't gonna be able to leave out of one city and go to another. Like we are living in a time where God's people are going to have to learn to trust in Him. And trusting in Him is knowing that even though I might have $0 in my bank account, even though there might be a food shortage and I can't go to the grocery store and get no food, and I can't go to the food bank and get no food, guess what? The Lord gonna provide a way. The Lord gonna take care of us. That's what it means to trust in the Most High. Not to be afraid, not to go and invest in gold, not to go and invest your money in Bitcoin and learn how to mine for cryptocurrency. Ain't none of that gonna save you, man. Ain't none of that gonna make your life any better or stop your life from getting worse along with everybody else. In order for you to make it through this time, you're going to have to depend on the Lord and learn to trust in Him. And trusting in Him is being patient. You know what I'm saying? You heard the saying, desperate times calls for desperate measures. That's for people who are in the world. Those desperate times call for desperate measures. That's for people who are in the world. People in the truth don't have to get desperate. All we have to do is get patient. You understand? Let me get 2 Samuel chapter 22. Matter of fact, let's get Psalms chapter 18 and 2. They're both the same thing. Let's get Psalms 18 and 2. Salakia, y'all. Like I said, I had taken some medicine a little early, man. I might have been out of it for a little bit. Salakia for that. All right, Salakia, we at Psalms 18 and 1. Psalms 18 and 1 says, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength in whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. Everybody understands? This is a psalm of David praying to the Most High, praising the Most High for being his protector, being his defender, being his shield and his buckler in his times of crisis. This is a scripture I meant to go to earlier. This is when my mind drew a blank earlier on this scripture. I was trying to get one about Daniel and the lion's den. You understand? About Daniel and the lion's den. Give me a second. Hold on. Hold up. All right, here we go. Hold on. This is Daniel chapter 10. Building, y'all. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, here we go. I'm gonna read this down. I'm gonna read this on down to the verse I want to get to because it's important. We're reading about Daniel, right? And we're reading about Daniel in a troublesome time um, that he was going through. All right, and this is another aspect of standing. This is another aspect of trusting in the Most High. Again, you got to be patient when it comes to serving the Lord. There may be times where things may seem impossible. They may seem dire. It may seem that this is the end. This is it. There's nothing more. There is no deliverance. There is no salvation. The Lord is seeing fit for me to. This is how I'm going to die, or how I'm going to lose my life. Those are the times when you have to be patient, because those times are also a test. Anything you're going through that makes you contemplate leaving the truth, or makes you contemplate turning your back on the Most High, you have to know that is Satan trying to get you out of here. It's Satan trying to take you out. And in order to not be taken out, you've got to stand with the Most High and trust Him. Daniel chapter 10, verse 1 says, in the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. And the thing was true, but the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. So this is saying a vision came to Daniel about something that was far off into the future. But David understood the vision that he received, and he understood what it was about. This is Daniel now going to tell us what the vision was. Daniel 10 and 2. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. What does that mean? What did Daniel do for 3 weeks? Anybody in the class? Online? Read it one more time. Daniel 10 and 2. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. What is Daniel doing? Yes, Sister Kamala. Daniel fasted during this time. For 3 weeks, Daniel didn't eat any food or drink any wine. Now, he did drink his water, because he didn't mention that he didn't drink any water. But Daniel fasted from all food and he fasted from everything except for water. All right? Daniel 10 and 4. And in the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is hit Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with a fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his multitude like the voice of a multitude. So this is Christ Daniel's having a vision of. Daniel seeing into the future, the day when our king returns to the earth. And he describes him as a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold and Uphaz. You understand? When it says his body was like the beryl, his clothes, my body is like the ruby right now. Or my body is like the red. Well, this man's body was like the beryl, a super rich dark green color. His face is the appearance of lightning, meaning what? His face shone where you couldn't look him in the face. And his eyes were as a lamp of fire. His eyes were red, like fire burning in them. And his arms and his feet in like color to polished brass. And the voice of his words were like the voice of a multitude, had a very powerful voice. Verse 7, and I, Daniel, alone saw the vision. For the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. So Daniel was the only one that saw this vision. Why? Because Daniel was the only one who had been fasting. Daniel was the only one that the Lord wanted to show the vision to. Everybody else experienced the earthquake. Daniel saw God. Saw God and Yahushua, our King. Verse 9. Yet I heard, verse 8. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me. For my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength, meaning he was greatly affected by seeing this vision. You understand? That's why it says my comeliness was turned to me into corruption, meaning like he went off after that. He wasn't the same after that. And he was weak. Like he passed out. Now I don't mean to say it wrong. It was like he saw the vision and he there was no more strength in him. He passed out. He was weak. The men who was with him had to come back and carry him. They had to get him up off the floor. He passed out. You understand? His beauty was turned into corruption, meaning he was. You ever seen somebody have a seizure or pass out to where they looking like themselves and then they do one of these jumps and then pass out? That's what happened to Daniel. That's what Daniel's describing here. You understand? He was by himself. He saw the vision. He spazzed out, passed out, was weak, couldn't move. So the men had to come back and get him. Verse 9, yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. He fell. He passed out, y'all. This is Daniel explaining, man. I passed out. And when I passed out, I was seeing the vision, and I was hearing the voice speak to me, but my face was on the ground. Verse 10, and behold, a hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palm of my hand. So he went from being passed out to getting up. He's on his hands and his knees now. He's picking himself up off the ground. Right? Verse 11, and he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. So now Daniel and Daniel goes from being passed out to now in the vision he's getting himself up. He's being told to stand up, and he stands up, and he's standing before this man clothed in the linen. Shalaki. Verse 12. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. Meaning, as soon as you determined, Daniel, that you wanted to speak to the Lord, that you wanted to ask of the Lord, and you began this fast, the Lord had sent me to come and deal with you. The Lord had sent me to come and speak with you these words. Verse 13, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is many. Verse 14. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days, for yet the vision is for many days. So this is him telling them, I'm going to show you something that's coming way, way, way in the future. But what did Christ mean when he said that soon as you set your heart, let me go back up. Daniel 10 and 12. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. I mean, as soon as Daniel said, I want to fast for the Lord, I'm gonna chasten myself, I'm gonna punish my flesh to draw closer to the Lord, then it was already determined that I was going to come speak with you. But for the 21 days it took you fasting before I could come and deal with you, the reason why it took so long was because the prince of Persia, who is Satan, meaning the one in charge, the one who was responsible for the power of the prince of Persia, the one who's leading the prince of Persia. That's what Christ is saying. That's what Christ is saying to Daniel in the vision. I would have been here 21 days ago, but the prince of Persia withheld me, having me deal with other people, having me deal with other, you know, prayers and issues and problems, other temptations that needed to be dealt with. You understand? But now Christ overcame because Daniel endured and followed through with what he said he wanted to do. Here we are on the 24th day, and now Christ is visiting him to hear his words, to show him a vision of the future, because that's what Daniel wanted to know. Daniel wanted to speak. You understand? Daniel wanted to speak to an angel about what was going on, about what he was experiencing, what he was seeing. Christ is saying, man, I would have been here 21 days ago, but I got held up by Satan, battling with him over other men. This is Daniel 10 and 15. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake, and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision my sorrows are turned unto me upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remain no strength in me, neither is there breath in me. Breath left in me. Salaki. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me. And said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee, be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened, and said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia, and when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things, but Michael your prince. So this in this vision, the point of this was Daniel had fasted for 24 days before Christ came to deliver him a vision of the future that was to come. But in explaining to Daniel that you did good enduring, brother, because I would have been here 21 days ago, but I was wrestling with the Prince of Persia. You understand? What does it mean to wrestle with the Prince of Persia? To battle with Satan over individual people who are being oppressed and ruled over by this Prince of Persia. Again, the Prince of Persia was the spirit that was over Persia. The Prince of Grecia was the spirit that was over Greece. And how are spirits over men? Because they are in the men who are responsible for leading or being in power, in charge, who are in authority. And this goes to show you that the same way that Daniel fasted and prayed and Christ came to him, if you trust in the Most High the way that Daniel did, the second that you ask the Lord for something, the second that you pray for something, the second that you fast and decide that this is what it is I'm going to wait for the Most High to do for me, he will do it. He will not be slack concerning his promise. He will absolutely answer your prayers. But are you going to be willing to endure and suffer the patience that's necessary in order for the Lord to be able to move in your life? That's the time that we are coming to. We're coming to a time where these examples are what we are going to have to lean on. We are going to have to trust that this famine is just like the one that Elijah went through. And that woman got down to her last little bit of cornmeal, her last little bit of flour, her last little bit of oil. And she still fed the prophet. She still fed her son, still fed herself. And then the next night, trusting in the Lord, she went and baked another cake. And guess what? There was the same amount of flour, same amount of oil, same amount of cornmeal, and they made bread. How are you and I any different? Let's not forget the miracles that Christ performed were all miracles that the poor required. Christ came and healed the people who nobody else gave a damn about, healed the people who nobody else cared for, healed the people who were too broke to afford a doctor's visit, too broke to afford to get a surgery done, too broke to have someone even come and find out what's wrong with them. When they heard Christ was coming, they went out there, they rushed to touch the hem of his garment, to open up the rooftop and drop a man down through the roof, to all go down by the pool when the angel came and troubled the waters for them to go and receive a blessing. Like, our king is a righteous brother, man. And he showed us how to be righteous. Gave us the keys to doing what it is that he did. He fed 5,000 with 3 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Or 5 loaves of bread and 3 fish. That was the power of our king. That's the power of you trusting in the Most High. And we are living in the times where it's going to take that type of trust in order for those miracles to be made manifest again. Don't get it twisted. We are heading towards an absolutely horrible, terrible time in this empire. But all the Most High needs for us to know is that if we trust in him, we'll never be ashamed. He'll never leave us, never forsake us, never allow us to be overthrown and overtaken by our oppressors for his sake, for his name to ring bells in the earth. And that is what is going to occur. With that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, I want to say Salakia to y'all. Like I said, I took some medicine earlier, man. I was out of it a little bit, different parts of the class. So Salakia about that. I apologize. But again, with the Israelite School of UPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been teaching since 1969. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? Truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. In the year 2023, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to find out who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is here on the earth. And that is what we are able to do with these classes, man. 3000 Walnut Grove, Suite 215, Memphis, Tennessee. 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215, Memphis, Tennessee. That's the address. Calling numbers 901-249-0085. Again, 901-249-0085. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Those are the class times. Call the school if you need any counsel, need any guidance, got any issues or situations you're dealing with. And with that, shalom, Israel.